What's up, everybody? This is the Daily Fantasy Show brought to you by DFO. I am Josh. I am going live on YouTube today, so you can either join me, or if you don't get a chance to join me, I will tweet out the link again after the show, and you can just rewatch. Last night was an interesting slate. My original lineup was awesome, but I didn't stay with it, and I swapped to a different lineup. Not good. But anyway, it's nice that we have 6 games on a Friday. It's not just like a dinky little 3-gamer. So I think there's some good spots to attack tonight, so let's hop right to it. First game of the night, we have the Vancouver Canucks traveling to the Buffalo Sabres. Vancouver's on a back-to-back. Anders Nielsen started last night, got absolutely wrecked by the Bruins. They gave up 3 power play goals on that stupid major in the first period. Boston ended up being one of the top stacks of the night. Now Vancouver traveled from Boston to Buffalo. They're going to be starting Jacob Markstrom. The Eichel line is probably my favorite line tonight. Eichel, Vander Kane, and Jason Pominville. I mean, they're probably going to be pretty high owned. I'm going to assume maybe Washington's going to get some ownership. Pittsburgh's going to get some ownership. Winnipeg. I mean, there's going to be some spots, but I think Buffalo's going to be pretty high owned. But that's definitely my target since they moved Reinhardt off the second line. I think it's, Justin Bailey on the second line. He's not even in the FanDuel player pool. He's 3,100 on DraftKings. You need some salary. You can go there for the second line, but I prefer Eichel, Kane, and Pominville. If you want to use Ristolainen on the blue line, I mean, it makes sense if you're going to go 4-man. He is what? I think he's 5,100. Yeah, he's still 5,100. I mean, he's not good defensively. Not that it matters in DFS, but he's kind of struggled out of the gates, even offensively too. And again, if you want to use Ryan O'Reilly and Kyle Okposo, that's cool too. I mean, Bailey's really cheap, 3,100. In terms of goalies, Chad Johnson, I believe, is starting tonight. Robin Lehner's still hurt. He's 7,600. Even if I'm going to stack Buffalo, I'm not sure that I want to use Chad Johnson. He wasn't good his last time out against Vegas. And Vancouver is so cheap tonight, and Buffalo gives up so many scoring chances, like just a ridiculous amount. I think they're first, or I don't want to say first, they're probably last in the NHL giving up the most high danger scoring chances per 60. Again, the most expensive center is Bo Horvat. He's 3,600 or 3,900 on DraftKings. Excuse me. I think you can use that line. Was it Bobo Bart, Bo Horvat, Brock Bozier, and I don't even know. Barchi, how you pronounce it. That line's super cheap. Yeah, Barchi's 3,800. Bozier's 4,200. I think Bozier's still the most expensive player on the Canucks at 4,200, which speaks to how bad the Canucks are. But that line is a good, I think in a pretty decent spot. I think they're probably going to be pretty low owned considering they're on a back-to-back and they're, the Canucks are perceived terrible. Or maybe they are actually terrible. Horvat got moved down to line 3, so they split up that line. So that's pretty brutal. I guess you could. I can't believe Daniel Sedin's 3,800. I guess you can use the Sedines tonight. I mean, Henrik Sedin's 3,600. I mean, that's insane. Who, man, I'm not all about Vancouver tonight, but I mean, you can use them. They provide good salary relief. I mean, again, Buffalo's awful defensively. You can use some. I mean, maybe the best way to attack them, because it's a short slate, you can get a little creative. You can go on. You can use a power play. You can use a couple of the Sedins. You can use Bo Horvat. Michael Del Zotto is a good value tonight, I think, at 3,600. He's been playing really well. You can. I prefer Daniel Sedin to Henrik. Not either player has been good, but at least Daniel shoots the puck once in a while. No interest in Jacob Markstrom tonight, even though he's 7,000. He's someone I like to use in GPPs, just not tonight. I think Buffalo is gonna. I mean, this could be a high-scoring game, but I think Buffalo is gonna at least get three or four goals tonight. So let's move on here from that tire fire of a game to the San Jose Sharks, traveling to New Jersey to face the Devils. Devils won in overtime last night, 5-4 against the Senators. Corey Schneider got hurt. Kincaid came in the third period after stuffing his face with a granola. Didn't know he was coming in, but he's getting another start tonight against Martin Jones. It's funny to me that Martin Jones is $500 cheaper than Kincaid. Martin Jones is generally, I think, over the past year and a half has been better on the road. You want this one too? Here. No, I lost my train of thought. Martin Jones, I think, has been better on the road. I think he's in a decent spot tonight, 7,200. He's a decent GPP play. I mean, he's the same price as Carey Price tonight. We'll get to that later, but I could see using Martin Jones if you aren't using the Devils in a GPP. I hate recommending San Jose 1 just because I don't like using Joe Thornton. He just doesn't do anything for me anymore. But again, like I recommended last time, I mean, they're cheap. They're 16,000 the full stack. But I mean, if you're going to use San Jose, I think the best way to do it is, if you're going to use San Jose 1, is use Pavelski. Go Burns. Yeah, I'm getting to that. You want to use Pavelski, you want to use Burns. You can do kind of like what I recommend with the Canucks. I like using their power play. You can use Couture, Burns, Pavelski. Even Hurdle's been playing good. He's 4,600. If you can't fit Burns and you really need to dig deep, I mean, Tim Heed is 3,300. He plays on the power play 1, which is nice. In terms of the Sharks, that's about it for me. I mean, if you really want to use, if you really want to use Thornton, go ahead. I mean, he's got a low floor, but go ahead. On the Devils side, you saw NJ1 yesterday, light it up pretty well. Taylor Hall, Nico Hischier scored his first career goals. Stafford didn't do too much, but he's still cheap at 4,500. I don't mind going back there again if you're not using Jones. Taylor Hall's always in play for me at 5,700. It's still too cheap. Second line I like as well, not as much. Henrique, Palmieri, and Johansson. Again, they're cheap too. It doesn't let you do anything you want because there's some expensive spots tonight, but let me see here. I have my little sheet. New Jersey 1 is only 14,700 to full stack, and NJ2 is 14,200. So, it provides you with relief to get, pay up for D-men you want, or pay up for wingers that you want. On the blue line for the Devils, if you want to use, Butcher, he's getting up there for him. I mean, he was down under 3,000 the start of the season, up to 4,300 on DraftKings. Severson, I think he left hurt towards the end of the third period overtime. He's 3,100, and again, John Moore went down in price. He's 2,900. He had a good game. If you want to chase him there, you can. I believe he's on the second power play unit. You just have to check daily faceoff for that. And again, if you're not using Devils, I kind of like Martin Jones at his price. Not because I think he's a great goalie, as if you've seen the show, you know I don't believe he's a great goalie, but in GPPs for his price, I think he's worth a shot. I always remember Keith Kincaid for starting a game a couple of years ago at the Shark Tank. He shut out the Sharks when I had a full San Jose stack, and it was just brutal. Staying up that late watching them get shut out by Keith Kincaid, it is bad. But I don't really have too much interest in him at his price. I'm not sure what kind of ownership we're looking at for the Sharks. But my lean, yeah, that was bad. Yeah, because I was in a really big tournament that night too. And I had 3 people pass me because of the shutout with Kincaid. People actually used Keith Kincaid that night. But, here we are. I think, the Sharks might be moderately popular tonight. Burns always garners ownership. Pavelski. Couture had a great game last time out. I think he had like 12.5 DK points. So you're going to get Keith Kincaid a low ownership. I wouldn't recommend him in cash. I wouldn't use him in cash at all. But you can use the Devils. I mean, obviously you can correlate with Kincaid there. Not my top option. Let's go to the third game of the night. We have the Washington Capitals traveling to Detroit to face the Red Wings. It's hangover Burns if you're paying up 200 difference. Yes, I will get to that in a second, but either or is good. I'd probably have a slight lean to Burns, but you can't go wrong with Letang. And when I get to Pittsburgh, I'll tell you why. But the Capitals are in Detroit tonight to face the Red Wings. Looks like Holtby against Mrazek. Obviously, Ovechkin's going to be popular tonight. It's a short slate. He's always popular. Washington 1 as a whole is pretty expensive to stack. They're a little over 19,000. You got to check out AD's line matching article in this game. Zetterberg's probably going to be up again. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I believe that Zetterberg's probably going to be up against the Ovechkin line. Which, for me, if I'm going to use Capitals, I want the second line tonight, which would be Backstrom, Oshie, and Burakovsky. That would be my preferred play using the Capitals tonight. I mean, if you want to use Ovechkin too, because Washington 2 as a whole is 15, I think a little under 16, 15,900 to full stack. You want to have Ovechkin too, and then plug in a D-man like Orlov on the blue line to have a power play stack. That's cool too, but for me, Wilson's online too now. Burakovsky, jeez. I did not see that either. Tom Wilson, the GOAT. I have no interest in Tom Wilson, so I would go power play stack again. I'd probably stack power play 1 if possible. If not, you can go Oshie, Backstrom mini with Orlov or Carlson. Carlson's been seeing like 28 minutes a night, which is just ridiculous, and he's 5,200, so you can go there. Dmitry Orlov, 3,400, sees a ton of ice time, hasn't been doing anything, but eventually they're going to score, you would think. On the Detroit side, I do like the top line tonight, the Zetterberg line. Washington blue line has been bad, like bad. You can tell Carlson's been playing 27 minutes a night. Orlov's been up around 20 minutes. Let's see what Blashill does with his lines. He likes to mix them up, but I like the Zetterberg line and the Larkin line. I wish Marty Furk would get moved up. Maybe he did and I didn't see it. But if it's... I know they switched around the even strength lines in-game last game, so I'm not 100% sure what they're going to come out with tonight. They're fairly cheap though, and I do like the Zetterberg line is my preferred play for Detroit. I mean, I'm not overly thrilled about using him because Holtby is Holtby, but you know, it's not a short slate by any means, but kind of my strategy on like mid range slates, like 4 to 7, 8 games even, is if I'm going to throw a bunch of lineups out there, I do want exposure to as many teams as possible, but I do think Detroit's top line is in a decent spot. That's my preferred play. You can go Mike Green. He's up there now, 5,400. That's the only D-man I'm really interested in, unless you want to chase Nick Jensen getting 3 more assists, which probably won't happen again until 2038. In net, Peter Mrazek. I love Peter Mrazek, but I don't know. 6,900 is a tad. I mean, it's cheap, but they scare me using the Red Wings. Their blue line's so bad. You want to use it in the GPP, okay? Holtby 8,000. Yeah, bud. I'm recording something. That's cool. We'll chill in a little bit. Okay, go ahead. So Holtby at 8,000. Here, bring it to me. I'll fix it. Holtby at 8,000 is not really my top choice. I mean, again, if you've watched the show before, I don't like to spend up for goalies. If you want to use him, I don't dislike the play at all. He's just not my favorite option tonight. Was that a hippo? Yeah. All right, let's move on to, now that I completely lost my train of thought, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Penguins against the Florida Panthers. Yeah, I have a 3-year-old son. He's running around like a chicken with his head cut off right now. To the Florida Panthers, I believe it was, I forget who mentioned it. I think the Florida Panthers are one of the worst. They gave up one of the highest totals of DraftKings points than either their team in the league. And Pittsburgh's offense is, Pittsburgh offense. So definitely want some exposure to Pittsburgh tonight. It's really a preference. I mean, you're going to have to make a stand. I mean, you're either going to use the Crosby line or the Malkin line, or, use Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and then a little cheaper option because they're expensive. The top line is, they're both almost, I think, 20,000 to stack. Jake Gensel's still on the top line. He's not on the top power play. It kind of annoys me that their power play is broken up over 3 even strength lines, and that kind of bothers me. But the way to get around that is stack their power play. And Florida has given up a ton of points. But if you're just going for one line, I think I'd have a slight lean to the Malkin line, just because they're a little cheaper. Okay, they're a little cheaper, and I think they have more exposure to the power play unit as a whole. I'd have to double check on that. But again, Letang, 6,200 on DraftKings, which is much cheaper than Burns. It's a $200 difference, like you said, on FanDuel. If you can fit Burns, I go Burns. But I also really like Letang tonight just because they're in a really good matchup. So you can't go wrong with either. My preferred between the two of them would be Burns. But I think Letang wouldn't be a bad consolation prize. On this other end, the Panthers, you saw what the Rangers did to them. The Penguins have been terrible defensively. I Really like the top line for Florida tonight. Barkov, Huberdeau, and the guy I'm going to butcher his last name. Dadonov. That's not hard. Evgeny Dadonov. We'll call him Dad. I like that line tonight. They're fairly inexpensive. If you want to use the blue line, I'd use Aaron Ekblad. Or if you want to use Yandel, they're within $100 with each other on DraftKings. Also, Vinny Trocheck is also in play for me. He's $6,000. Which Florida line for cash? I'd probably go. I don't like to use full lines in cash. I don't even mind going like Trocheck and Huberdeau or Barkov and Huberdeau. I don't think I'd use the full line in cash. Yeah, I'd probably use the top line. I don't mind Verbata either. He shoots. That's what you're looking for in cash. People shoot the puck. He's 4,200 or 4,800, excuse me. I like Trocheck as a one-off. Florida 3, I do like Florida 3 tonight. There's someone, if you need the salary, that's a spot to go to. Let me pull them up here. I don't even have them on there. But I know they're really cheap. You can offset some salary. Even if you want to use like a mini on Florida 3, let you get like an extra player on a power play unit or something like that. I think that's a good spot to go to. I also like six-man stacking the Panthers tonight. On a medium-sized slate, anything like that is in play. You want to use the full power play unit and another player. I'm into that. Especially for the Panthers, they're kind of cheap. The problem is when you six-man stack, you really want to use the goalie in there, and I have no interest in these goalies tonight. I don't want to use Murray or Luongo. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I really don't want either of them. But, again, if you're going to six-man stack, the preferred option is to use the goalie, but, there's other ways to go tonight. So let's move to this here. So let's move to the second to last game of the night. Murray's safe for the win. I don't know about that. You would think the Penguins are going to win, but I'm not comfortable with saying that the Penguins are definitely going to win. I could see this being a 4-3 game, something like that, a 5-4 game even, 5-3, 4-2, something like that. There's going to be a goal scored. You just don't know. You would think the Penguins are going to come out on top, but for me, it's not a lock. So let's move on to the Minnesota Wild. Maybe, is he on FanDuel? Murray, the highest priced goalie on the slate? If he's on FanDuel, he's the highest priced goalie on the slate. I want nothing to do with it. So we have the Minnesota Wild going into Winnipeg to face the Jets. Holtby, Price, than Murray. I would rather use the first two before I get to Murray. Holtby or Price. But so I think Winnipeg is definitely going to be popular tonight. Kyle Connor got moved up to the top line, which gives them some salary savings with Scheifele and Wheeler. And then the second line is Little, Laine, and Ehlers. I think that is my preferred play tonight. I think they're going to be very popular, though. Not that ownership is a huge deal if you can differentiate in other spots. But Winnipeg, too, the Little line, definitely my preferred play tonight. If you can afford Bufflin, go ahead. I also like Morrissey. He's still only 3,500. Here. Litter, Trocheck, and Price, FanDuel, cash. I go. You're coming up. I'd go Trocheck just because he shoots more, I think. There he is. You don't need this. Connor Morrissey mini for DK Cash. Yes, I can get behind that. You'll save a lot of salary and
button. Golden button.
yeah, it'll save you a lot of salary. And you can let you fill out your cash lineup pretty much any way you want, really.
Push it.
On the Minnesota side, Koivu, Zucker, and Granlund were skating together in practice, but it looks like Granlund's out, so
Push a button.
those aren't buttons. So I don't know what they're doing on their lines tonight, but I don't mind a Koivu, Zucker mini stack. Say what's up, Avery. Everyone's saying hello. Good talk. See you out there. I'd use a Koivu, Zucker, and then on the blue line, if you can afford it, I go Suter.
Push MMA. Push one.
If not, you know, I don't mind. Actually, no, Suter would probably be my preferred play there. Yeah, Zooks for the win, for sure.
Push one. Push one to pick one.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely does look like me. I can't claim him.
Push one.
I can't say he's not mine because he definitely is. Suter or Spurgeon on the blue line, 5,300, 4,900 on DK. Minnesota's so banged up. I think they're kind of in a wait and see mode for me. If they burn me, they burn me. Down you go. Other than that, goalies, I do like Hellebuck tonight, 7,500. Just because Minnesota coming in late. Can you recap favorite plays? I will post this up on Twitter after, so you can just rewatch the beginning. I'll recap at the end. If you had to pick game stack, Florida Pitt or Minnesota, I'd probably go with Florida Pitt just because both teams are, you know, have good offenses and they're probably going to be more goals scored. Not sure about Minnesota until they get a little bit more healthy. Winnipeg is an attractive option. If you want to, you know, double stack Winnipeg tonight, 6-man stack it. That's also in play. Hellebuck for me, 7,500 is probably one of my top plays tonight in a GPP. Dubnyk, 7,600 is interesting because he can steal a game for you if you're not using Winnipeg and you want to leverage a little bit, because I think Winnipeg is going to be fairly high owned. They're probably, Winnipeg 1 and Winnipeg 2 are probably going to eat each other's ownership a bit, but Winnipeg as a whole is going to be fairly high. I mean, it's not really Dubnyk's fault, but they have been giving up more high danger scoring chances than were last year. Last year, they were just giving up a ton of soft shots from the outside. I think that's a big difference between this year and last year. The amount of high danger scoring chances, and Dubnyk isn't very good high danger. Are you 100? No, I play on both. Right now, I'm just mostly on DK. I do go over to FanDuel once in a while. I will play over there if I'm in a rough patch and I want to, you know, iron the kinks out. But I don't play both sites at the same time too often, but I will. So let's move on to the last game of the night. Montreal Canadiens traveling to Anaheim to face the Ducks, another team that's banged up with injuries. Montreal can't score. Anaheim's injured. They can't score. Carey Price, 7,200. He's got to turn around at some point, right? If you're not using the Ducks, I think Carey Price is firmly in play in a GPP. I think he will be the highest owned. He might be a trap, but at 7,200, would you rather pay 7,200 for Carey Price or 8,200 for Carey Price? On DraftKings, I'd rather pay 7,200 and get better skaters in, and if he does give up 3 goals on 24 shots, but still sneaks out the victory, I mean, that would be Montreal to score 4 goals, which probably isn't going to happen. But even if you think he's a trap at that price, you got to have some exposure just because it's Carey Price. He could have a 31 save shutout. I think Price is cash viable, yeah. Just, it's Carey Price. I mean, maybe he's not the best goalie in the NHL anymore, but he's still one of the best. And just like you see with Henrik Lundqvist, you see flashes of brilliance, and one of these times they're all going to put it together. I'm taking Johnson first. Should I jump up? I don't mind. I mean, I just don't like Chad Johnson, but the Canucks are so bad. I personally go Price just because he's cheaper and lets you do other things. But let's get to the lines here. What was it? Raquel Silfverberg or Raquel Silfverberg and I don't even know. The Ducks mix up their lines so much. Eves is day to day. I don't know if he's coming back. Getzlaff, I don't think is playing tonight. I think Vermeet is with Perry. That doesn't really interest me too much. I'm not a huge Duck stacker, even when they're healthy. They're frustrating to use. I don't know why. I mean, Brendan Montour is still in play. If you're not using Carey Price, I like him on the power play and PK, 4,000. If you want someone who blocks shots and has some offensive ability, Josh Manson is a decent pawn at 3,400. Cam Fowler, if you are a real Duck enthusiast and you want to get saucy at 5,500, go for it. My interest in Anaheim tonight's not very high. I know a lot of people like them, no matter who they're playing, when they're playing. I just don't see it. It's not something that I like to do either. But you want to use Raquel as a single bullet. You want to use Raquel with Fowler, Raquel with Silfverberg. You know, I'm cool with that too. It's just not one of my favorite ways to go. You know how, like, Tim Crosby, Oshie, or Malkin Ehlers? I'd probably go the second, Malkin Ehlers. I think I prefer that. And on the Montreal side, if Galchenyuk's still on line one, that's definitely a line to explore. 4,100 for Galchenyuk. Pacioretty is 6,000. He needs to step it up a little bit. Again, I think they're going to go overlooked again. Duran is still under 6,000. He's 5,800. They're very low owned against the Kings, and I think they're in a similar situation tonight. I definitely could see the top line there going overlooked, and they're in a pretty decent spot. Jonathan Gibson, 8,300. Again, I don't... Man. Montreal has scored like 10 goals in 9 games this season, something ridiculous like that. So I guess Gibson would be in play for me. I kind of prefer the top line of Montreal, though, to be honest with you, instead of Gibson. I mean, they're going to go overlooked again. Pacioretty hasn't really been doing too much. I prefer to go Montreal 1 before I go Gibson. But if you're not using the Canadiens, Gibson's in play for me. So, you guys have a couple questions before I hop off? I'll take questions for a couple minutes. I think top exposures for me tonight, I'm probably going to have Buffalo 1, Florida 1, both Winnipegs, maybe some San Jose power play, a little bit Montreal. I'm a notorious Pittsburgh fader, which has burned me a lot, but, you know, Pittsburgh's in a great spot, and obviously they're a great play. I'm going to fade them and watch my money burn, probably. So again, yes, you don't messed up, AA Ron. You can ask anytime. If I see it, I'll answer it. Yeah, fire away during it. Watch Josh stack checks. Yeah, I should listen to myself. So I listened to myself yesterday. I'd be stacking checks, but I didn't. No reason to rehash that, though. Top goalies tonight. It's kind of a mess. Look at these top price goalies on on DraftKings. Hey, Columbus didn't play too bad. I mean, Vasi was stood on his head. That was insane. Columbus won. Played or put 16 shots on goal. One sneaks in. They're a great play. Great games to play. I prefer if I want to play cash, I'm going to play head-to-heads in 3-mans and 10-mans. I don't really like 50-50s. I prefer 3 maxes and single entries, but again, if you're going to do that, I'd still throw them in the small, or the large field small GPPs just as insurance in case you do crush it. Yeah, 10 man's probably considered cash. I don't really play too many 10 mans. If I'm going to play cash, I'm going to go head to head. 3 man, 5 mans, and single entry double ups. Favorite punt D man? Probably Michael Del Zotto, Josh Morrissey, Dmitry Orlov, and yes, Tim Heed for the Sharks homer over there. Those would probably be my 4 top options there. Also, you know, Josh Manson, if you want to go a different route there. If you really need to dive deep, I don't know how many great options there really are under 3,000. John Moore, 2,900. That may be it, really. You want to go Scandella at 2,800. He's on the ice a bunch, but Buffalo's terrible. Yeah, Pouliot if you really want to punt. Aaron Ness. These guys don't really interest me too much. I probably really wouldn't go below 3,000 tonight unless you really needed it. All right, guys. I will be on Twitter. Favorite high price D that's not Latanger? Burns. Probably Bufflin, which is kind of obvious to me. Also, I probably... No problem. Yeah, Ristolainen, Leinen, whatever his name is. He's going to break out eventually. Carlson plays 3,000 minutes a night. You can go there. Suter's always on the ice for 3.5 hours. Aaron Ekblad. We'll do that. But again, I'll be on Twitter. You can ask me questions there at JRH002DFS. Obviously, you know that if you're here because I tweeted out the link. Like per team. I don't try to force correlation, but I don't resist it either. So if you build a team with 3 players on the same team, that's fine. Of course, yeah. So check. If you have more questions, you can hit me up on Twitter or, you know, sign up for the premium. We have awesome, Crosby, Malcolm, and Tang. Definitely good in cash. We have an awesome optimizer for cash and an optimizer for GPP with projections by Emmanuel Perry. You can hop into premium. That gives you access to premium chat with me and AD. You can pepper us with questions from 5:45 to 6:45. We are in there every day. Check out AD's line matching article. It's pretty awesome, and it's a nice, unique way to look at DFS. Thank you, everybody, for checking in. I will post the link on Twitter. You can rewatch it if you really want to see my beautiful face again. If not, we will see you tomorrow. Later, guys and girls. There we go.